Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Slurve. I am Steve, bringing you your cash game Cornerstones for MLB today. It is Tuesday, June 28th, and we've got another game in Coors today. So for cash, play Coors. Thanks. Good luck, guys. I'm just kidding. Well, sort of. Do play Coors though, for real. But I do have a video advising you a little bit more than that. Adam will cover all the pitching stuff in his videos. Honestly, a lot more interesting stuff there today, since bats really is kind of a play Coors scenario. But I've got some special picks that I like and some other options if you're not down with the Coors. At catcher, I really don't see much reason not to play Nick Hundley. Great game last night. Well, a good game last night. I ended up actually getting off of him because I've just been on a bad run. But my advice has been good. I just don't take it. He's 3.1 on DK and 3.2 on FanDuel, so I don't see much reason to go beyond that. If you got cash just, floating around, I don't mind Russell Martin either, especially if he moves up in the order a little bit against Eddie Butler, who's definitely a worse pitcher than Happ, although it's a worse righty-righty matchup there. He's just so expensive on DK at 4.7. I really have trouble considering him there. At 3.7 on FanDuel is a little bit better. And we also got Contreras, who's just been super popular lately, and he's done well to kind of justify it. Some amazing games and some mediocre. He's too popular for my liking and just the body of evidence. There's not a whole lot of evidence for him, and John Lamb has been a whole lot better, but he is John Lamb, and I'm not really so confident in him continuing that. But Contreras is 4.2 on DK, which is pretty hard to get behind. He's 3.1 on FanDuel, which is a little bit easier to deal with. If for some reason you just want to get away from Coors, that would be my pick. Let's be honest, though. You don't want to get away from Coors. Why would you want to do that? There's no good reason to do that. I'm even putting Mark Reynolds in the list today, and I don't do that very often, but especially on FanDuel where he's only 3.1, I think Reynolds is definitely deserving of attention against left-handed J.A. Happ. 4.8 on DK is just like, god damn, for Reynolds. I think I would rather just find the extra $700 somewhere and get Encarnacion, E5, who made me look silly yesterday because I was not on him at all, and then he double-donged. And I still stand by that choice because John Gray can be really shut down on righties, and Edwin just outplayed him, and it cost me. But anyway, at least it wasn't Chris Bryant. Oh my god, Chris Bryant triple-dong yesterday. Ugh, so frustrating. Hate it when chalk explodes. Anyway, Encarnacion's 5.5 on DK. It's expensive, but like I said, I would pay up the extra 700 over Reynolds there for sure. It's 4,800 on FanDuel. It makes it a bit more reasonable to play Reynolds with the big discount there. And then once again, if you are team fade Coors, don't be. But Jose Abreu is a nice play too against Kyle Gibson. 4.2 on DK and 3.6 on FanDuel. But I'm going for Encarnacion, and then I'll see beyond that. We can't. Well, I guess we could play all four Rockies, 3J, or 4, whatever. And maybe that's a good idea, because most of the plays I have written down here are guys in Coors. That's not by mistake. It's a 12.5 over-under on that game. So if Christian Adames is still in the lineup, you better be playing him on DK. He's 2.2. Had a great game yesterday. Been hitting second. Been doing well. There's no reason not to play him. He's a shortstop on FanDuel and more expensive and a little bit... there's question there, but on DK, there's absolutely no reason not to have Christian Adames in your lineup, assuming he's starting. Devin Travis is another guy that made me look silly yesterday because I wasn't particularly on him, and then he, first inning homer off guy that I like, John Gray. There we go. He's 4.9 on DK, which is pretty tough to deal with. If he's near the top of the order again, I like it better, but still, whew. But 3.7 on FanDuel is very, very reasonable. I like him there. And Christian Adames is also a shortstop eligible on DK, so you could play him there and play Travis at second base or another play if you like someone at second. There's always Jace Peterson for 2,000 leading off, who people have used against me lately, and it's worked out for them. And I guess I need to pay attention to Jace Peterson. It just feels gross. But min salary guys leading off are usually plus EV moves, so I got to suck up my bias and maybe play some Jace Peterson. Plus, it's guys like Jace Peterson that are going to let us fit in guys like Nolan Arenado, who for some reason has come down in price since yesterday. Loved him yesterday, like him maybe even a little better today, especially with the discount. 4.9 on DK, 4.5 on FanDuel. There's nothing wrong with going Donaldson. I don't mind it at all. He's just significantly more expensive than Arenado, and I'm happy with Arenado. Again, for your fade Coors play, A-Rod. I like A-Rod against Hamels, although Hamels has some really good strikeout stuff. But A-Rod's only 3.2 on DK and 3.3 on FanDuel. If you want to go cheap hunting for a home run, I think that's probably a decent way to go about it. Is today the day for Tulo? I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence there. Not usually someone who plays Tulo a whole lot. He's just always over-owned, in my opinion, and just, great player, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. But he's been doing really well, and mostly I'm interested today because he kind of flopped yesterday. So maybe some of the hordes will be off him after his flop today. And I don't mind him, as if he's not like everywhere. And honestly, the price on DK, 4.8, it's just rough. 3.8 on FanDuel is not so bad, but Butler is really bad, and it's Coors, and obviously Tulo knows how to hit there. Again, on DK you can put in Adames here. On FanDuel, Adames is 3.2. I'd probably just try and get the $600 for Tulo there, or take a discount. You're going to need some somewhere, and get Tim Anderson, who's just been good. He's just been really good, and he's leading off, and he's cheap. On DK, he's 3.9, so not so cheap, but on FanDuel, he's only 2.5. And then one of my favorite stories of this season, Eduardo Nunez. I don't love the matchup with Quintana, but he's only 3.8 on DK and 3.2 on FanDuel. I'd still try to get Coors in there, or if not, Tim Anderson. But failing that, gotta love Nunez. He just offers so much in terms of stolen base and home run upside at a great price, and he's third base and shortstop eligible. I love you, Nunez. That said, I also really like Quintana, so take that for what you will. All right, cheap-ish plays in Coors. Love those. Ryan Rayburn, the lefty slayer. Hasn't been too much of a lefty slayer this season, but now he's getting, a lot more time in the outfield with some injuries and stuff going on. And he hasn't actually been pulled out when the left-handers go. So that's a good thing, and he's 3.6 on both sites. Obviously, it's a little pricier on FanDuel, but I still like him there a lot. There's also Ezekiel Carrera, hopefully leading off against Butler. He's 4.5 on DK. I don't love the price, but I still think you should play him. And he's 3.9 on FanDuel, where I do absolutely love the price. And I think Shin-Soo Choo is not getting a fair shake in terms of pricing. Guy is killing it. Killed it last night. Today he gets CC. Yeah, it's a lefty-lefty matchup. I'm not too concerned. Choo typically leads off. He's only 3.1 on DK and 3.4 on FanDuel. That stadium is really favorable for the way he hits. I think he is a great way to save a little money today. And, like I said, you can play everyone in Coors Field, but you might want a little bit of differentiation there. Speaking of Coors Field, it's hard to get away from it today, these last couple days. Everybody's in play. Blackman's in play, Cargo's in play, Pilar's in play, Saunders is in play. On DK, Cargo is really cheap, and his splits against lefties are not that great. But 4.5 is really cheap for Cargo. I'm not too worried about it at that price. He's 4.0 on FanDuel, so pretty nice price there too. Blackman 5.4 on DK. I do think the matchup is better for Blackman, but God, that's expensive, especially when you can get Cargo for 900 less. So that's just a choice you got to make depending on how much salary you got left when you got everybody else you want. And Blackman is 4.5 on FanDuel. It's probably easier to fit that in there. Pilar kind of depends on where he is in the order a little bit for me. On DK at 4.8, I don't think I'm interested in Pilar. I'd rather pay 400 more and get Saunders like a million times over. Rather do that. But on FanDuel, he's only 3.5, so I think he's kind of a nice play there. Maybe a little bit sneaky angle on Coors. I don't know. So I mentioned Saunders. I like him. He's 4.4 on DK. 5.2 on FanDuel is just, oh man, I'm sorry, 5.2 on DK is just really tough to fit in the lineup. But he's a guy that I love tonight. If you can, I would get him in there. Just love Coors. 12.5 total. How can you not love that? I don't understand. And then one last guy to get away from Coors a little bit. Another game that I'm potentially interested in, although I think it might be overly popular, and that is Christian Yelich against Pelfrey. Yep, that's right. The Marlins get Mike Pelfrey in Detroit, so it's a bit of a park upgrade for them. Not a huge one, but almost anything is better than Marlins Park for hitters, except Stanton. Ugh, excuse me. And Yelich is expensive, 4.7 on DK, so I don't mind if you just want to take Coors bats over him. 4.0 on FanDuel, similar situation, but he is arguably in a much better matchup than, say, Cargo. Not that he is as talented a player as Cargo, but, you got to play the matchups to some degree. That being said, I don't love the idea of stacking against Mike Pelfrey, really. For one, they've priced the Marlins way up. Justin Bour's 5,100. I almost lost my mind when I saw that. Derek Dietrich's kind of interesting at 4,300. Just toss that out. But he's a little bit too expensive with the other cheap plays available at second base for me to consider in cash. So it's a pretty interesting slate out there, honestly. And we'll be hanging around in the Slurve tailgate for questions, slurve.com. Free to sign up and come on in and chat with us. Adam has his pitching video to help you out with that. Max has got his video to help you out with the stacks. And then later on, we'll have some written stuff with the rundown and the dong finder and all that. So come on back by, play Coors. Good luck tonight.